Now, I'm going to talk to somebody who's going to come in from the side now, my first guest this evening. You will know him, I suppose, because although it's rather wicked on Granada to mention another organisation beginning with B, ending with C with a B in the middle, that's where he actually does earn his living and entertain the entire nation together with another gang of lunatics. From the Monty Python show, Graham Chapman. Graham, I'm very glad to see that the hour we spent in hospitality wasn't wasted.
Oh, no, of course it wasn't.
You didn't move anything like that at rehearsal, did you? Quite normally.
Oh, no, quite. I always do, very normally. Very normal person.
Good.
What did you want to ask?
That's a very disconcerting way of putting it, but we can start somewhere.
Yes?
We'd like to change chairs.
Well, if you'd like.
No, I think I'll probably stick with this
All right.
one.
Okay.
I'm just trying to throw him as much as he's throwing me, you see. It's very difficult. Now, taking the question of...
Would you like to ask me whether I'm a lesbian?
No.
Or not?
I wouldn't like to ask you whether you're a lesbian because I...
Well, I certainly am not.
I do actually know that because I stood next to you in the gents and it didn't escape.
Very good. I am certainly not a lesbian. Carry on.
Very well. I will.
Good evening. That's what you call a camera, isn't it?
Yes, you know them very well, I think.
Yes.
They follow you about constantly.
Good evening.
Can we pass on to something even more frivolous?
Absolutely.
Good. Now, as you rightly maintain, you are not a lesbian. And
I could be.
That. You could be if you happen to be.
I could be with the requisite surgery. I could quite easily be a lesbian.
I wonder if there has been any sex change from a gentleman to a lady in order to become a lesbian.
Now, that has never happened to me, but I wouldn't mind if it had happened to me.
I see. That's one of the rare things left out of your general experience.
Yes, it has been left out of my general experience, and I would like that to be sometime. I would like that to happen to me, because at the moment I don't feel fulfilled.
You want to experience life in its full
Of
richness?
course, I would like to experience lesbianism.
I see.
Of course.
Fairly
sensible, isn't it?
Perfectly sensible. I do wish there was something rather stronger than water in this.
Is that only water?
Yes, it is.
Oh, good God.
It actually has some ice in that bit. It's a
Well,
very
I'll have a
interesting
bit then.
idea.
I'll have a
Would
bit.
you?
Yes.
Ah, good.
Pour a little bit of it. He's very good with water.
It's actually totally blocked, I think.
Hello.
And also extraordinarily heavy.
Oh, is it?
Leaving lesbians aside...
if you can.
Graham.
Yes.
I am always, of course, very attracted by lesbians because there's something unattainable about them, wouldn't you say?
Well, it's the same with me, you see.
I see, and that's why you contemplate this operation.
Yes, exactly.
Ah, good. Well, let me know the result, won't you? And,
who knows the result? I don't care.
Actually, while we're talking on that particular subject, you are one of the, well, few persons, I think, who
Yes?
have boldly and bravely announced yourself to be homosexual.
Well, I am, yes.
Yes. Now, I was found...
I'm also heterosexual, but that doesn't matter.
Well, then let's say you're bisexual, or AC/DC is the more common.
Isn't everybody?
Well, it is a debatable point. I personally believe that probably most people are a bit, but a great many people do tend not only to disguise the fact and to hide it, but to become totally enraged at the suggestion that there's anything gay about them, especially people like retired colonels and
They're missing
schoolmasters.
out. They're missing out on an awful lot, aren't they? I mean, you just love people, don't you?
Well, I think so. You see, I stopped you actually pulling faces for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I'm glad about that.
I'm glad
That's
they
what I was
did.
trying
Yes,
to do.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
Do you think it's very important for someone, I mean, I do, personally, to continuously attack prejudice in the way you have done?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I think it is very important.
So do I.
There's so much. I mean, I was in a pub the other day, and I overheard a conversation between some labourers. Okay, and they were fine, but they were talking about how they'd beaten up this puff in a pub. Now, what does that mean to them? What is the credit to them for doing that? It was pure prejudice.
Do you think it's a bit like sparrows attacking an albino sparrow? I mean, it's noticeably different, a different person they're attacking that way.
It's fear. It's fear. It's like white people have a fear of black people, like heterosexual people have a fear of homosexual people. There's no point in it. We should all just love each other and do it in our own way, and that's the only thing that's important.
And you actually stood on the line and said that many times, which I think is good, really, and remarkable, because you are a person very much in the public eye. And have you discovered any, have you found any violent reaction to that? People who say, as soon as I see Monty Python, I turn it off because that foul poof to Graham's on it.
No, there's been a lot of reaction in that people might turn it off because they don't understand it, or they hate it, but when I'm in pubs, they don't turn it off because I'm quite tall.
And large and strong.
Yes.
And occasionally in your cups argumentative, I might say.
I am quite argumentative too, and will push my fist down anyone's throat. You know.
I've actually moved out of the way while you were doing that. Looked with great interest at the beer advertisements. I've seen you become quite aggressive.
But why can't people just live with each other and love each other?
I think it's happening a little, don't you?
I think it's happening a little, but not fast
And if you read
enough.
that, if you read the account of the homosexual debate in the House of Lords, the time when they altered the law, I mean, it now reads like a Monty Python sketch.
It does really, yeah.
Tell me about Monty Python. It seems to me, watching it very often, that it is the most outrageous programme, and yet it's accepted and loved by a vast majority of the British public, and furthermore, not even attacked by those forces which tend to attack anything they don't understand or fear.
Well, they don't understand it. I mean, the forces in the BBC, the hierarchy there, don't really know what we're doing.
They don't. It's a bit like the Goons in their day.
Exactly.
I mean, I remember the Goons in their day had a pair of comedians they were always introducing called No Fucking Good, you know, No Fucking Good.
Oh, they wouldn't understand that.
I used to hear it. It was totally amazing. And they also had a gentleman they frequently referred to called Hugh Jampton. Do you remember him?
Oh, yeah.
You think that the Python thing works rather on the same
Exactly the same
level?
Exactly the same line.
It does indicate that under the top surface of life there is an enormous, wide spectrum of people that do understand it, however, and that love it dearly.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Can I ask you one thing? Just before we reach a game you're to introduce to the great public.
Oh, I'm not going to be made to play that, am I?
Well, you suggested it, and
all right.
I see the means to play it is on there. But just before we do that, can I ask you one thing? As what you might call a crusading homosexual, I mean, someone who said... Well, someone who stands
Not necessarily, I mean, I don't know
I don't mean you wear a pink cross, dear, or anything like that. But, you know, you will stand up and say... The Monty Python show, on the other hand, does introduce a sort of caricatured Uncle Tom, I suppose Auntie Tom would be more accurate, type of poofter very often on it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How do you feel about, on the one hand, saying people should love each other, not be prejudiced, on the other hand, caricaturing homosexuality in such a way?
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, you caricature everything, don't you? I mean, you don't worry about it. You just...
Well, I don't personally. I just wondered if you had any thoughts on...
Oh, not at all.
Being a screaming queen on television and saying... How about
No
this
worries
game?
at all. Let's play this game now.
I think we'll play again.
Shall we get some people from the audience to
Well,
play?
we need one each, actually. You see, I know about this game because he showed me how to play it. Would you like to explain it to the public here and the public eventually on the other side?
We can't, unfortunately, call it by its proper name.
No.
Because that's a bit rude.
Bit rude. We could call it Biggies.
Biggies or Big Job?
Big Jobs, you could call it.
Grunties?
I think Grunties is nice, it's true. It has a sort of like childish feel to it.
Yeah, Grunties.
Who used to play this game? I mean, where did you learn it?
Well, you know, the young chaps at St Bartholomew's Hospital used to play it.
You were a medical student, I gather.
Not at all, no.
No? What were you doing in St Bartholomew's then?
Where should I put it? There's an arrow on the floor somewhere. Is that the right one?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is. Well, we can
now
move
you
that
want
back
some
up.
money, don't you?
Yes, we do. We do need some money.
I'll look in my pocket.
I've got
10 shillings are no good, except for people with very curiously shaped bottoms. Here we are.
That camera can't possibly be picking us up at the moment, can it?
There's 6.
Are you still looking in? Hello?
Yes, he is. You
I've
better
got
explain this game, and we'll do a trial run.
We'll do a trial run.
It's quite an embarrassing game, really.
No, it's not far enough out. It's as far as we can get.
Well, you can stand further back.
All right. Right. 3 10-penny pieces. Who put the water in there?
I'm going to do a trial run, too. I don't mind this sort of thing. It doesn't make me feel special like Nicholas Parsons, but no matter.
You all right, George? You okay?
Yes, I'm getting over it.